We're about to dive deep into 7 habits that completely transform my life in just 1 week. Yes, you heard that right, 1 week. I know it might sound too good to be true, but I promise these aren't just the same generic tips you've heard everywhere. These are real, raw, and honest habits that I personally integrated into my daily routine. I went through the struggles, the breakthroughs, and the triumphs, and the transformation I experienced was nothing short of amazing. I can't wait to share these with you because they have had such a profound impact on my life, and I truly believe they can do the same for you. Whether you're looking to boost your productivity, improve your mental health, or simply make a positive change in your everyday life, these habits can help. So, grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive right in. Trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end because these habits aren't just theoretical, they are practical, actionable steps you can start implementing today. Plus, I'll be sharing personal stories and insights from my own journey to give you a raw and honest look at how these habits work for me. Habit 1. Waking up early. The first habit that changed my life was waking up early. Let me be completely honest. I was never a morning person. My bed was my best friend, and I used to hit the snooze button more times than I could count. Mornings were a chaotic rush, and I often felt like I was starting my day on the wrong foot. But I decided to give waking up early a shot, and let me tell you, it was a game changer. I started by setting my alarm for 5 a.m. The first few days were brutal. I dragged myself out of bed feeling groggy and wondering if this was really worth it. But I pushed through, and by the third day, something incredible started to happen. I began to appreciate the quiet and stillness of the early morning hours. There was something almost magical about being up before the rest of the world, when everything was calm and peaceful. With these extra hours, I found time for things I never seemed to have time for before. I started my day with light exercise. Nothing too intense, just some stretching or a short jog. This not only woke me up, but also energized me for the rest of the day. I also spent time meditating and setting my intentions, which made a huge difference in my overall mindset and productivity. Another surprising benefit was that I no longer felt rushed. I had ample time to enjoy a healthy breakfast, sip my coffee slowly, and plan out my day. This unrushed start set a positive tone for everything that followed. I was more organized, less stressed, and felt a greater sense of control over my time. One personal experience that stands out was watching the sunrise from my balcony. It was a simple yet profoundly beautiful moment. As the sky changed colors and the world slowly woke up, I felt a deep sense of gratitude and peace. That moment truly cemented the power of waking up early for me. If waking up early sounds daunting, start small. Try setting your alarm just 15 minutes earlier than usual and gradually increase it. You might be surprised at how much of a positive impact it can have. It's not just about having more hours in the day, but about using those hours intentionally to create a mindful and fulfilling start. Habit 2. Daily exercise. Daily exercise was the second habit that truly transformed my life. I'll be upfront. I wasn't always the most active person. I used to find every excuse to avoid working out. I'm too tired. I don't have time, or I'll start tomorrow. Sound familiar? But one day, I decided enough was enough. I committed to moving my body every single day for a week, and the results were incredible. I started small, just 20 minutes a day, mixing it up between yoga, jogging, and strength training. I wanted to keep it interesting, so I wouldn't get bored and quit halfway through. The first few days were tough. My muscles were sore, and I felt exhausted. But I reminded myself why I was doing this. To feel better both physically and mentally. By the fourth day, something amazing happened. I woke up feeling more energized. My mood had drastically improved. I was less irritable, more positive, and more focused. One morning, I laced up my sneakers for a jog. It was a crisp, clear day, and as I ran, I felt a sense of freedom and clarity that I hadn't experienced in a long time. It was just me, the open road, and my thoughts. That moment of connection to myself and the world around me was truly empowering. I also started to see physical changes. My posture improved, I felt stronger, and I noticed a difference in my overall fitness. But the biggest change was in my mindset. Exercise became my time to disconnect from the world and reconnect with myself. It became a form of self-care rather than a chore. Another highlight was trying yoga for the first time. At first, I was hesitant, thinking I wasn't flexible enough or that it wouldn't be a real workout. But after a few sessions, I fell in love with it. Yoga taught me to be present, to breathe deeply, and to listen to my body. It was a transformative experience that went beyond physical benefits. If you're struggling to get started, my advice is to start small. Find something you enjoy, whether it's dancing, hiking, or even just a brisk walk. Commit to a few minutes a day and gradually build up from there. Trust me, the benefits you'll experience will be well worth the effort. It's a habit that has the power to change not just your body, but your entire outlook on life. Habit 3, journaling. Journaling is another habit that changed my life in just 1 week. I used to think journaling was for people with loads of free time or those who were naturally introspective. But 1 week of consistent journaling shifted my perspective completely. I started simple. Every night before bed, I dedicated just 10 minutes to journaling. I bought a plain notebook and a comfortable pen. No fancy apps, no pressure to make it look pretty, just me and my thoughts. The first night, I stared at the blank page, unsure of what to write. But then I began with something basic. How my day went, what made me happy, and what I struggled with. As the days went by, I started to dive deeper. I wrote about my goals, my fears, my dreams, and even my insecurities. It was like having a conversation with myself, and that's when the magic happened. I began to notice patterns in my thoughts and behaviors. I realized that some worries were completely out of my control, while others were areas where I could take action. One night, I wrote about a particularly stressful day at work. Putting my thoughts on paper helped me process my emotions. I reflected on what specifically stressed me out, how it made me feel, and what I could do differently next time. This simple act of reflection gave me clarity and made me feel more in control. Journaling also allowed me to track my progress. I noted down small victories and milestones, no matter how minor. Looking back at these entries filled me with a sense of accomplishment and motivation. If you've never tried journaling, I highly encourage you to start. Don't worry about writing perfectly. Just write whatever comes to mind. You might be surprised at how much clarity and peace it brings. Here's your rewritten script with improved flow, clarity, and structure. I had eaten hundreds of times before, but suddenly I discovered new, delightful flavors and textures I had never truly noticed. The crunch of fresh vegetables and the sweetness of ripe fruit became much more pronounced. It was like experiencing food in high definition. Another major change was how much more satisfied I felt after meals. By eating slowly and mindfully, I gave my body time to signal when it was full. This was a big shift for me, as I used to eat quickly and often ended up overeating. By paying attention to my hunger and fullness cues, I naturally ate less and felt more satisfied. One memorable experience was with a simple bowl of oatmeal. Normally, I would wolf it down without a second thought. But this time, I took it slow, savoring the creamy texture and the subtle sweetness of the honey I drizzled on top. It became a moment of gratitude and mindfulness, setting a positive tone for the rest of my day. I also started noticing how different foods made me feel. Heavy, processed foods left me sluggish and bloated, while fresh, whole foods gave me energy and a sense of lightness. This awareness led me to make healthier choices naturally, without feeling deprived or restricted. Another aspect of mindful eating is recognizing the emotional connections we have with food. I became more aware of when I was eating out of boredom, stress, or emotional comfort rather than true hunger. This awareness was powerful. Instead of mindlessly snacking, I could address the underlying emotion. Maybe I needed a break, some relaxation, or a chat with a friend rather than a bag of chips. One particular evening, I craved something sweet after dinner. Instead of automatically reaching for dessert, I paused and asked myself if I was truly hungry or just seeking a reward after a long day. I realized I wasn't actually hungry and opted for a warm cup of herbal tea instead. It was a small victory that highlighted the power of mindful eating. Incorporating mindful eating into my life was a transformative experience. It helped me develop a healthier relationship with food, improve my digestion, and enhance my overall sense of well-being. It's a habit I continued beyond that initial week, and I can't recommend it enough. If you're interested in trying mindful eating, start with just one meal a day. Sit down without distractions. Take a few deep breaths and savor each bite. Pay attention to the flavors, textures, and how your body feels. The food you eat has a profound impact on how you feel. You might be surprised at how a simple shift in awareness can transform your entire eating experience. Taking the time to truly appreciate your meals is a wonderful way to reconnect with your body and acknowledge the nourishment that food provides. One habit that has made a significant difference in my life is limiting screen time. This was particularly challenging for me, and I suspect it might be for many of you as well. We live in a digital world where it's easy to get caught up in endless scrolling, binge watching, or constantly checking emails. But over time, I realized that excessive screen time was affecting my mental health, productivity, and even my sleep. So, I decided to set some boundaries and see what would happen. First, I set a daily limit of 1 hour for non-work related screen time. This meant no mindless scrolling on social media, no endless YouTube marathons, and no late-night TV binges. At first, it was tough. I had become so accustomed to filling every spare moment with screen time. But I knew I needed to make a change. The first thing I noticed was how much more time I suddenly had in my day. I hadn't realized just how many hours were slipping away in front of a screen until I consciously cut back. With that extra time, I rediscovered old hobbies and interests I had neglected. I picked up a book I'd been meaning to read, started doodling and drawing again, and even tried cooking new recipes. One evening, instead of watching TV after dinner, I decided to take a walk in the park. The fresh air, the sounds of nature, and simply moving my body felt incredibly refreshing. It was a stark contrast to the screen-induced lethargy I had grown used to. That walk soon became a cherished part of my routine, something I genuinely looked forward to each day. Another major change was in my sleep quality. I used to take my phone to bed, scrolling through social media or watching videos until I felt sleepy. But instead of helping me unwind, it often left me feeling restless, making it harder to fall asleep. Once I started limiting screen time, especially before bed, I found it much easier to relax. I replaced my nighttime scrolling with reading a physical book, meditating, or simply reflecting on my day. As a result, I started sleeping more deeply and waking up with better energy. Beyond that, I noticed significant improvements in my mental health. Without the constant stream of news, social media comparisons, and digital distractions, I felt less anxious and more present. Conversations became more meaningful. I was more attentive to the people around me, and I engaged more fully in my daily activities. It was as if a mental fog had lifted, allowing me to see and experience life more clearly. One of my most memorable days was when I spent an entire afternoon at a local cafe with just a notebook and a pen. I wrote down my thoughts, planned future goals, and even sketched a bit. It was such a peaceful and productive time, free from digital interruptions. I felt more connected to myself and my surroundings in a way that screens had never allowed. Of course, there were moments of temptation, and I wasn't perfect. But whenever I caught myself reaching for my phone out of habit, I gently reminded myself of the benefits I was experiencing and redirected my focus to something more fulfilling. Limiting screen time isn't about completely eliminating technology. It's about creating a healthier balance and being more intentional with your time. If you've been feeling overwhelmed or disconnected, I encourage you to try setting some screen time boundaries. Start small, maybe cut back by an hour each day, and see how it feels. Use that extra time to reconnect with yourself, your loved ones, and the world around you. You might be surprised at how much richer life can be when you step away from the screens and engage more with the real world. That wraps up this journey through the 7 habits that transformed my life in just 1 week. Implementing these changes has been an incredible experience, and sharing them with you has been just as rewarding. Each of these habits has the power to bring significant positive change, and I truly believe that if they work for me, they can work for anyone. If any of these habits resonated with you, I encourage you to give them a try. Start small, choose one habit, and see how it fits into your lifestyle. The goal isn't perfection, but progress. Small, manageable changes add up to big transformations over time. I'd love to hear about your experiences. Drop a comment below and share which habit you're thinking of adopting or any questions you have. Your feedback and stories make this community so special. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future content. We have plenty more insights and tips coming your way. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, small changes lead to big results. Let's keep growing, evolving, and turning our daily routines into powerful moments of self-improvement. See you in the next video. Stay awesome.